I wish that I had started sooner. I wish I'd started sooner. This is what I hear time after time. I speak with 10 to 15 new people each week, and they all, bar none, wish they had started planning for retirement earlier. And if you're sitting there with this niggling feeling in the back of your mind that there's maybe something more you should be doing, that you really need to get around to this, but you just haven't had the time or you haven't known where to start, then you're in the right place. Because in this video, I'm going to show you the 3-step process that you need to follow to get back on track. I'm also going to be introducing you to several tools that I have built so that you can work out exactly what you need to do to get to where you want to be. Hello and welcome back to the channel. For anyone that's new here, hi, my name is James. I'm a financial planner, and this is a place where you can learn to make smarter financial decisions. You know how every now and again, when you're aimlessly scrolling through YouTube, searching for that next dopamine hit, as we all do, and every now and again you stumble across something that makes you think, wow, I actually just learned something there. That's actually added value to my life. Well, that is the feeling that I try to create with each and every single one of my videos. But I've really tried to push the boat out with this one, because I know that if you're sitting there watching a video called How to Get Your Retirement Plans Back on Track, and it's the start of the new year, then there's actually a better chance than potentially ever before that you'll actually do something about it. And I know that with the right process, it will only take you a day or two to get on top of this, after which you'll start to feel much more confident about your future, and you'll start to live your life much more deliberately. So whether you're watching this over Christmas, at the start of the new year, or at any other time, can you give up a few hours or a day to get this sorted? Because that is all it's going to take. There are no excuses, especially as I have already built a bunch of tools that are going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. So there's 3 steps to this, and they're the same 3 steps that you go through whenever you're trying to solve any problem. The first thing that we need to do is define the problem and work out what is it that we're actually trying to achieve. What level of income do you think that you'll actually need in retirement? And once we've understood that, we can then start to see where you are now and look at what you're doing, what you're putting in place, and seeing whether you're on track to achieve this level of income. And we'll probably find that you're either undershooting this or overshooting this. So the final part is then to work out what you need to change to get you to where you want to be. So let's dive in with the first step, defining the problem. We all go through life saving money into pensions, saving money into the ISAs, and it's all for the purpose of achieving some far off goal of eventually achieving financial independence, getting to this point in time where we've built up enough assets that we can support ourselves, and working then becomes a choice. Each person that gets in touch with me is looking for an answer to the same question. Am I doing enough? To which I say, for what? It's like you've just come to me and you've asked whether you've got enough bricks to build your house. Well, I first need to understand how big a house do you want to build? Until we've defined the problem that we're trying to solve, how the hell are we supposed to know whether the solutions that we're putting in place today are helping us work towards that problem or actually making the problem worse? Let's say that you're saving £10,000 a year. Is that good or is that bad? What if it turns out that to retire with the lifestyle that you want, all you really need to be doing is saving £12,000 a year. But you've just spent the last 10 years falling short, and now you're going to have to play catch up. Now you may think that you're already doing the best that you can, that you can't possibly save anymore, and that may be true. But for most people, that's just an excuse that we use so that we can say that it's out of our hands, that we're not in control, when we really are. And when you see it laid out clearly in front of you, that if you can save an additional 10 or 20% more, you'll be able to achieve your goals, or to be able to achieve them much sooner, I know that you'll be able to find the motivation to do it. But let's not forget that the other reason why we need to define the problem is to stop us overshooting the target. In Western society, we are very pessimistic about the amount of money we think we'll need to live a meaningful life in retirement. But we're also very optimistic about how long we think we'll live for and how long we stay healthy, which keeps us working for far longer than we need to, only for us to then finally retire, to then start living our dreams, and then we get ill. Or people start dying, friends and family around us start dying, and we don't get that opportunity to enjoy it. We really do need to make the most of what we've got, both in terms of money and time. So to size the problem, we really need to think about what type of life we want to lead and how much it's going to cost. Now, if you're 5 to 10 years off retirement, it should not be too difficult for you to dissect your current expenditure today and to get a good guess of how that might change in the future. And to help you do that, I have built this expenditure allocation spreadsheet that you can use to dissect exactly where you're spending your money today and to start thinking about how that might change in the future. And there's a link down to this in the description. If you're more than 15 years off retirement, then it's going to be slightly harder to put yourself in retirement shoes. But at the same time, you've also got a lot more time to work towards building the life that you really want. So it's really important that you think big and think about what brings meaning to your life. What does your dream lifestyle look like? And let's make it happen. I've actually done a whole video on this part of the process. And again, there's a link to that down in the description. So once we've completed this first step, we've defined the problem and we've worked out how much income we might need, we can start to work out whether we're on track to achieve it. Now, normally when I'm working with clients to assess whether the things that they're doing today are going to be enough for them to achieve their goals in the future, I use complex cash flow planning software. But most of this software is very expensive and only really built for advisors, which means that for most people, if they want to try and answer these questions, they have to start building their own models in Excel. But for this, not only do you need to be a bit of an Excel whiz, but you also need to understand all the variables that need to be taken into consideration. So, to save you the hassle, I've spent the last few days building a model that can do this for you. Now, this is not going to be as accurate as the real thing, but you can input your current assets, how much you're saving now, and detail your desired retirement expenditure to see how likely it is that you're going to be able to achieve your goals. It's designed to give you enough flexibility to accurately represent your situation without being too complex. Again, there's a link to this down in the description, along with a whole video that shows you how to use this. This is still very much a prototype, and many of you have actually already given me some great feedback on this, upon which I've made a lot of changes. So thank you guys for that. And please do continue to leave me feedback down in the comments. So hopefully, over time, we can refine this into a really useful tool that everyone can use. But even in its current state, it will be able to give you a good understanding of the trajectory that you're on. And if you find that you're then not doing enough to achieve your goals, we then need to proceed to the final step, which is to work out what you need to do to get yourself back on track. Now, you'll learn a lot simply by playing around with this tool. And as you pull different levers and change the variables, you'll see how each of them affects your trajectory. And you'll quickly realize that there's actually a lot of different ways that you can go about achieving your goals. You'll see what happens if you were to save more and how saving earlier on in life has such a big impact. You'll also be able to explore the different ways that you could go about living your life, either by saving more aggressively and retiring earlier, or potentially just taking things easier, maybe going part-time but working for longer. You'll also start to see how things like investment risk, fees, and inflation affect your goals, and also how important it is that you get your money working as hard for you as it possibly can. Which is why, as part of this final step, you need to make sure you know exactly where all of your investments are and how they are being managed. I know it can be hard, especially when you've had lots of different jobs and you've got pensions that are all over the place, but you cannot just assume that they are being managed correctly. Every week I come across people that have been sitting in pensions that have been performing poorly for decades. And as a result, they have lost out on tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds. So let's be honest, the first two parts of this have been pretty easy, but if you want to get that niggling feeling out of the back of your mind and you want to start feeling confident about your future, you're going to need to get stuck in and find out exactly what you've got and when. I'm not going to lie, this will be some of the worst life admin that you have ever had to do. But the good news is that you only need to do this once. And if you do it properly, you'll never have to do this again. Now, you're probably thinking, where the hell do I even start with this? How do I tell if a pension is good or not? Well, if that's the case, then you need to watch this video here where I take you through step by step as I evaluate my own pensions so that you can too. I'll see you there.